Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, for the ego self, the idea of more is better. The more is advanced. So, since we start recognizing stuff to till now, we have been moving with this idea more is better, isn't it? And this idea is simply influenced by our environment, including our home, and also from our own experience. Notice, you know, when you had enough in the past, you were comfortable. There was ease. And just to maintain the comfort and ease, we've been pushing ourselves to, you know, with that idea, more is better. But also, there's a downside to it. When you seek for more, you have to put yourself more in the path. Physically, mentally, you have to, be part of the journey, any journey. You have to, control. You have to create a boundary to invite more in your life. And, inviting more in your life also, puts you in a place that you are fighting with the world. There's a struggle. Notice how much we have fought with the people to have more in life. So there is the price to pay for the idea more. Yes, definitely more is, safe, in the relative world, in the functioning world. It gives you comfort, it gives you ease, it feels real. When you feel your life, feels comfortable having more, then, that becomes a lifestyle. When our physical world is the most realistic experience, and when you can make your life comfortable, that becomes a reality. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong to have more. If you can put yourself in the path, if your action provides you that byproduct of more, in more supportive stuff, great. But if you are struggling, if you are killing yourself just to maintain that idea, then the whole, idea has twisted your lifestyle. If there's a conscious effort, a mindful effort, without torturing yourself, and you can make, your life better, which is the minimum effort and maximum result, great. So there's a difference, how we are, creating that more. Now, this is the trap from the idea of more, having more. When you have been living with the idea of more, and you have, collecting, you have conditioned yourself. Your body is conditioned to that, idea. Your mind is conditioned to that. Now that's your lifestyle. But deep down, no matter how much you have collected, you still feel empty. There's still a fear. And you start to seek. You start to align with the spiritual path. You have heard that spiritual path is the way to, you know, to feel free within and outside. And you start to align with the spirituality. To feel that void of emptiness. Just simply notice what's the reason to be part of the spiritual practice. You have enough already. Your life is supported. You feel empty, that something is missing. And you align with the spirituality. What's the purpose of the spiritual practice? What's the purpose of aligning with, aligning with the God, aligning with the freedom, aligning with the truth? It's to, feel that gap of emptiness, to dissolve the idea of fear, to dissolve the idea that mind creates as a negative narration. Good, this void is there, so you can, seek for the truth and, and eventually be free. It's correct. You can be free from that, emptiness. The purpose of the spirituality is, not to feel that void of emptiness, but to be okay with that. Now you started a journey, spiritual journey. And in the beginning, you're trying a lot of stuff. And in the beginning, you feel like it's supporting you. Now, you have to be mindful that, what is the true spirituality and what is what is not true in spiritual path. The spiritual path is about dissolving the ego. It's about letting go. It's about going against the idea of more. And, if you know better, then we can work on dissolving the fear. But if you don't have the difference between, what's the real path and what's not, then we end up seeking more in the spiritual path as well. Our habits, our conditioning, that is aligned with more comes in the spiritual practice as well. We seek for more and more experience in the spiritual path. And that itself is, the ego is loving the idea of more in the spiritual path. So the outward journey and inward journey, there's no difference. And the more you seek, there's a void still there. You're not satisfied with, no matter what experience you're going through in the spiritual path. There's always wanting for more. The wanting for more is because the truth is missing. When the truth is missing, the fear, takes the driver's seat, and the fear makes you to seek more. And the fear itself is a byproduct of the ego self. Basically, the ego makes you seek more and more and more, knowledge, more experience. Basically, we have lost the connection with the true purpose of spiritual path. So that's why we need to, reorganize ourselves, pausing and asking ourselves, what's the purpose of this spiritual practice? Is it about, making our ego stubborn, making our ego bigger and bigger, or dissolving the ego? So, we need to, pause, especially when we have been in the spiritual path for long and not able to break ourselves free from that, free from the fear, free from the mental conflict. Then there is something wrong that we're doing in the spiritual path. The path is about decluttering, dissolving the mind, dissolving the credential, dissolving what we have collected as who we think we are right now. Whatever we think of who we are, hasn't free ourselves from that. So it's about dissolving who we have become so far, so we can go to the truth of who we are. It's about figuring out the plain sight truth, the truth without any additional layers of the mind. And to get there, the mind has to be dissolved. The mind means the ego has to be dissolved. The attachment to the things attachment to the things gotta go. That's the process. So if we are adding in the spiritual path, then it's against the real spirituality, against the true freedom. Whatever is spiritual work, you are aligned with, definitely it will help you to create certain foundation. It will help you to anchor your awareness. But after that, we need to change gear. Once you are able to sustain the awareness in yourself, then that, focus has to be, put in dissolving the ego, which is about dissolving the mind by tracing the mind backward. So that's the process. Anyway, in the beginning, our whole life is moving with the idea of more. More is better, more is advanced. Make sure, you don't bring that to the spiritual practice. Thinking more, collecting more spiritual ideas, spiritual, experience, spiritual knowledge is freedom. It's not that. Letting go is freedom, not collecting. More. When it comes to spiritual practice, less is more. Yes, in the relative world, more is better, more is advanced. It's opposite flow. Especially opposite flow in the mind. To go to the no mind. Building your mind is in the relative world. Reorganizing the mind is in the relative functioning world. To connect the dots, to build up, to grow, to become wise, to become intellectual. But for the spirituality, it's not about being intellectual. It's not about being a wise and sophisticated person. That being wise, sophisticated, trying to be intellectual, that itself is the ego. Yes, if you see the truth through the deconstructive work, the byproduct of the truth realization makes you, aware of things. In that sense, you become wise, you become intellectual. It's a byproduct. But without seeing the truth, collecting and thinking that it's the wise move itself is the trap, prisoning oneself in the false reality. Anyway, it's about dissolving the ego. Spiritual path, less is more. Okay. Anyway, here's a work you can do to create an inward journey is the places you are, seeking to have more. You ask yourself, why am I seeking for more? What's the reason for that? Just stay with this question, this inquiry, and see how you can trace your mind backward. Just stay with why am I seeking for more? And you'll see the layers of the mind, connected to your, surface move of seeking more. Okay? Give that a go. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying the backward movement. Take care for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.